Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ikelau Otto, and I'm a researcher at the Palau International Coral Reef Center. Today, I'll just be talking to you about some of the work that we've been doing at the center. Um, and we've just discussed a bit about some of our setbacks and what's in store. So thank you for having me. First off, just to outline what I'll be talking about, I'll go over PICRC's current OA capacity and the work that we're doing. Ongoing work at PICRC, some of the lessons learned and setbacks as well as delays, and what's in store for PICRC, what's coming up, what's next. So current OA capacity, we began OA work back in 2014, 2015. I came on board in 2015 through the JICA SETBACKS program, where we collaborated with the University of Ryukyus in Okinawa, Japan, and we were paired up with Dr. Haruko Kurihara. When I came on board, I became a mentee and one of her collaborators, and that's kind of where I got into the work of OA and the effects on corals. From there, we were granted the assistance from the Ocean Foundation, and they provided a training capacity building in Hawaii in 2018, where myself as well as one of my other colleagues attended. And they provide us with a GOA-ON kit to begin our water quality assessments and sampling. And then we also were granted a buoy from the Korean Institute of Ocean Science and Technology. They provided us with a OA buoy and lab equipments, and then as well as capacity building and buoy maintenance and servicing. So that was a 5-year project. We are now currently on the last year of that. But yeah, those are just some of the contributions that we've had, some of the major ones so far that's helped us get to where we are today. Some of the ongoing work at PICRC. So through KIOST, the Korean Institute of Ocean Science and Technology, they provided us with a K1 OA buoy, and so we've placed it in Coral State's Marine Protected Area, one of their protected areas, and this is a no entry, no fish, no take zone, so it's very protected from possible vandalism or people messing with the buoy. And in addition to that, it's actually quite located in a sheltered area. It's protected by the waves and harsh winds, and it also allows for good flow within the bay. So this bay actually flushes out on both ends during incoming and outgoing tides. So it's able to read a lot of different changes based on the current conditions. Through the buoy, these are some of the data that we've looked the buoy has been able to collect over time since we deployed it in 2018. This data is up until January to March of 2021, earlier this year. So yeah, it provides us with a very good long-term data that incorporates fluctuations during the different current conditions, environmental conditions such as rain or weather conditions, and all of that, and it takes into account all those fluctuations. In addition to what the buoy is collecting and sends out, Victor, one of our researchers at the center, he goes out once a week and collects water samples that are sent back for analysis. And up to date, this is as of March, 85 samples. I believe we're now up to 90, over 90 samples that we've sent out, collected and sent out. Some of the parameters that this buoy collects is ocean CO2, air CO2, surface temperature and surface salinity of the water, pH and turbidity. As you can see, between 2018 and 2021, these are just data points in which the buoy has been collecting. And so over the past 5 years, it's going to be providing us with a really good database of how that bay fluctuates over time. Some of the other work that we do at the center, so PICRC has a long-term coral reef monitoring program. This started in 2002, and it goes on every 2 years. We have 23 permanent sites that we monitor all around Palau in 4 different habitats, and at 2 different depths, so 3 meters and 10 meters. You can see the map here on the right-hand side. Those are the sites that we continuously monitor, and the different colors indicate the different habitats. So we look at several ecological indicators, macro inverts, benthic coverage, fish abundance, coral recruitments. But since we got the Ocean Foundation GOA-ON kit, we've incorporated water quality into our indicators. In addition to that, we have a survey that we conduct every 2 years as well. It began in 2014. This is our Protected Areas Network monitoring, Marine Protected Areas Survey. So our PAN-MPAs. There's a total of 13 MPAs, and each MPA has their own respective reference site that's not protected, so that as well is getting surveyed. So overall, it's 26 locations all around Palau. We look at about 10 depths, or the maximum depth if it's some of the shallower habitats, and then we look at the same several indicators that we do in our long-term monitoring. And since 2017-2018, we've incorporated water quality into the long-term monitoring. Now, those are some of the projects that we've done in the past and that we continue to do. This is a new project that Palau, the PICRC, in partnership with Stanford COS, Center for Ocean Science, is doing. And so this is our eDNA project, environmental DNA of offshore, that's within our EEZ, as you can see here in this map. The white area is near shore around Palau. Palau's within here. And then we have our artisanal fishing zone, and then our offshore. And then we also have near shore surveys. So these are our different points near shore that we look at. This is a quarterly survey that began this year and will be going until 2013. So our first survey that we did was last month in August. We went out to all of these sites and we sampled. I did not incorporate OA into this, alkalinity, collecting water samples, but I did use our multi-sensor probe to look at the water conditions. Because this is quarterly, I'm going to be incorporating this in our November survey. So November, we will be going out to all of these sites again, and I'll be collecting water samples to just look at the, collecting surface samples to look at the total alkalinity in addition to the other parameters that I look at through my multi-sensor probe. So we have 20 offshore sites, 5 sites at each of the cardinal directions around Palau. And then in the near shore, we have 13 sites. 3 at each of the cardinal direction. That is a total of 32 sites altogether for this one particular project. So a lot of data, a lot of water being sampled to be analyzed. We also try and educate, incorporate this into our education program. So teaching internships, we usually have interns come over the summer, and one of the projects that I incorporate is water sampling and OA, teaching them how to work it and trying to get them interested in this field and understanding the importance of it. Down here you'll see the probe that we use, that I use. It's a multi-sensor probe called the AAQ, manufactured in Japan, and it measures 13 different parameters: pH, salinity, dissolved oxygen, turbidity, chlorophyll A, temperature, to name a few. So that is what I deploy at the same time as when I collect the water samples, just so we can have a cross comparison. Now, some of the setbacks and delays that we've had, human error. I've had quite a bit of lessons learned since we began this in 2018. And thanks to Dr. Sabine, he's been able to help me quite a bit in troubleshooting my issues. Equipment malfunction and delays of repairs and replacements. We have limited chemical disposal. I had to stop because we were having quite a massive number of contaminated mercury samples, mercury water. And so now I've set up a mercury filtration system similar to what Dr. Sabine has in his lab. We're able to clean through the contaminated samples before disposal. And then limited sampling materials. Because of so much delays I've been collecting and not being able to analyze, I ran low on bottles to sample with. And then, of course, I believe everybody is feeling this issue, or the struggle of the pandemic delays. So Palau's borders were closed, so it was quite difficult to order things and get them to on island in a timely fashion. Oftentimes it took many months. But since then our borders have opened. Mail is coming in a bit more regularly. So things are getting here a lot faster, as well as we're getting visitors. So I was able to get some of the replacement equipments for my preamplifier. I need that replaced, and I was able to order it and send it to Dr. Dunbar at Stanford, and he was coming to Palau, so he was able to bring them over with him, and we also purchased more sampling bottles for that. So what's in store for us now? Currently in the process of getting a brand new OA lab. So through KIOS, and then the five-year OA monitoring project with the buoy, they had funds to assist in developing, putting together a lab. So they provided us with some great lab equipment, the workstations and the shelves, spectrophotometers, laptops, printers, chemical storage. So they've been a great assistance to that. And then in addition to that, we actually were granted assistance from the IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency. And this is a 4-year project where they help us provide assistance in lab setup and capacity building. So because of the pandemic, there's been a lot of delays in the procurement and getting the equipment here, but they've purchased them, and hopefully they'll be here by early next year. And it's all for a brand new setup in the lab, and more titrators, coral coring equipment, and all of that such. With that, they'll be training us, providing us training on how to use all of these equipments. And in addition, through the GOA-ON peer-to-peer scientific monitoring mentorship, we were paired a few months ago with Dr. Chris Christina McGraw from the University of Otago in New Zealand, and she's been a massive help. It just helps me a lot to be able to bounce ideas off from her. So I've been partnered with her for the past few months, and we've had regular meetings, regular meetings once a month, and she's been a great help. I am hopeful that once this lab is all set up, all our equipment is here, and we're not having any more issues with minor things, that we'll be able to start conducting OA experiments, do some sort of manipulations. We have the aquarium at the center, the Palau Aquarium, and so hopefully use some of their tanks to conduct experiments. And so working with Dr. Christina McGraw, and I look forward to that partnership. But yeah, with that, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to all of our collaborators, contributors, and funders. So without you guys, it wouldn't be possible. So thank you.